Bleeding. Great American liquidation is here. Home Depot is effectively screaming recession, but the elites are covering their ears. They blame the weather, but here is the ugly truth they can't hide. They are drowning in $26.2 billion of unsold inventory. Why? Because the American consumer is tapped out, maxed out, and done. Look at the data. Subprime auto delinquencies are now worse than the 2009 financial crisis. Student loan borrowers face tax garnishments, and credit card debt is astronomical. The labor market is bleeding, with private companies shedding thousands of jobs weekly, while the government cooks the books with meaningless adjustments. Housing is the canary in the coal mine. Builders are sitting on the biggest pile of unsold homes since 2008, slashing prices in desperation. History proves that when housing collapses, the tech sector and stock market follow. They promised you a soft landing, but they delivered a controlled demolition of your wealth. The bubble is popping. Prepare now or lose everything. Great American liquidation.
First of all, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstones. Salutations to all the brothers and the few sisters is out there. Like foreigners from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom in the Hebrew, which means peace. And there's absolutely, positively nothing that anybody can muster up, any plan of it changing. All right, right now, today's I'm doing this on Thanksgiving, and there's a secret meeting amongst people that's stating that don't buy anything. One, they're telling people not to buy nothing because it should hurt the big businesses, and to let this administration know for a fact that they're not with what's going on. But you heard what the thing said, which they've been saying that they cooked up the books so it may look like the economy is strong, but in reality the economy is weak. All right, it is weakened. And since it's weakened, this bubble is bound to crash. And I did another show in it. You could tell when DJ Nero that he's a wizard. He emphasizes certain words. Okay. He pushes a narrative of prosperity. There's nothing to show of prosperity. Okay, they're doing a complete demolition on the U.S. economy. All right, they are doing a complete self-demolition of the U.S. economy, which makes perfect sense because they want to implement their new system. All right, let me get the scripture real quick. Zephaniah 1:9. Let's start 9. No, actually, it's 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be a noise of a cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. So there's if a merchant land, a land of consumption, and people are not consuming anything, then there's a fucking problem. And America is not a nation that export, is a nation that import. Now they used to import, export soy. You see how things work? Wow. They used to import soybeans to all these nations. With this new tariff that genius boy Orange Man has done with this whole tariff situation, that now the other nations, that China mainly, they're not buying from America no more. So you have a whole bunch of soybeans not being used. Then on the flip side, because this is a two-way street, all right? So not only is the the export. Pork. There was selling pork to other nations. They were selling a whole bunch of stuff. But this, according to this numbnut, all right, that was no longer effective because he cut off the trade deal. So now, what are they doing? They are somewhat giving people money. So the scripture says what? A gift. Matter of fact, I'll come back to this. The scripture tells you what? A gift destroyeth the heart, right? They cause this self-inflicted wound where people are suffering, and they're suffering by these dumbass politics. Hey, even when before Trump, they sold the people out. America been selling their own nation out. Real quick, Ecclesiastes 7:7. It says, "Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." So this is why he planned to give at first when they did the whole Deutsche cuts. They said, "Oh, the government was spending money on this and that. Why they doing that? I'm gonna give the average citizen $5,000." So now $5,000 became $2,000, and that money is gonna go right back to the same rich people that gave it out. All right, because they blinded the people to the fact of what? They blinded you to the fact that they are mistreating you and what they did with your money. That's all they doing. All right. Oh, this scripture came to mind. Come on, work with me here. What's they doing that for? Thank you. Bribers. Someone in. Is it bribery? Job 15:34. For the congregation of the hypocrites shall be desolate, and the fire shall consume the tabernacle of bribery. Now let's look up the word bribery. It says, right? All right. That it says. Oh, we continue. It says they conceive mischief and bring forth vanity. Wow. Hold on, let me go up. Job 15 and I'll start at 31. Let not him that is deceived trust in vanity. What is vanity? The word for vanity means nothing. So you have a whole bunch of people that's believing in nothing. What is that nothing that really believe in? The American dollar. The dollar is worth nothing. It's what you as an individual put into. All right. In other words, it has no true value to it. But since everybody believe it, poof, magic, right? For vanity shall be his recompense. It shall be accomplished before his time, and his branch shall not be green. I mean, it's not going to flourish. He shall shake off his unripe grape as a vine that shall cast off his flower of the olive. For the congregation of the hypocrites shall be desolate, and the congregation of who's a hypocrite? Esau. See, they tell you, oh, we're about this, we're about that. All right, they're nothing but actors and actresses. Okay, and it says, and the fire shall consume their tabernacle of briberies. And this whole entire system is built on lies. All right, it's all corrupt. From your president, they supposedly come in there with thousands, maybe a couple of hundreds of $1,000s. They leave the White House. They're billionaires. Why? Because they go and rape and rob all these nations. They don't give to the people. All right, that's a whole nother story in itself. It says they conceive mischief and bring forth vanity. and their belly shall prepareth deceit. So this whole notion of prosperity, you got to work hard. The entire system that they created was to keep people entrapped. If the people really decide to say, you know what, we're not spending, all it's doing is not even enforcing, um, not even harming these people. All right. How is it before the pandemic, Jeff Bezos, the ruler, the owner of Amazon, had he was 100, like over 100 millions, hundreds of millions. But after the pandemic, he's a billionaire. Treated his workers like dog shit. All right. So you could clearly see there's corruption. But like I did the show before, somebody was breaking it down. They'll have the average person protect the very rich, the very people that's doing all the bribery and corruption and all that. You're being protected by the people because in their mind they want to achieve your level of status, but not realizing it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the corruption. Okay, and this is exactly what's happening. So going back to this, it says verse 11 now. How inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down, all they that bear silver are cut off. And the stock market is built on natural resources. Well, it was created over slavery, but then it's backed up by silver and gold. Now, the market itself is fraudulent. They pump what they want to pump to show what they want to show. The majority of everybody is poor. What's my favorite? That scripture I like. It says, what's two of them? 29 and no, it's not 29. Hold on. It says, rich, poor. Proverbs, I believe this is the one. 22. Yep, this is one of them. Proverbs 22 and 16. He that oppressed the poor to increase his riches. No, that's not the one. He that oppressed the poor to increase his riches. He that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. Yeah, this is it. So the more we give to the very rich, the more we want. Why? Because they build a market that we desire. Majority, half of the shit that we don't want that shit. You don't need it. All right. Tomorrow, well, I'm doing this on Thanksgiving, or usually on a Thursday. But I'm gonna put it so I'll say today, majority of people will go out there and go ape shit crazy to go to these wholesale stores or these electronic stores for a fucking TV that you don't need. And this is the time that you get the great sales. But purchasing price or purchasing now, majority of people don't have. They don't have to give. People not giving. They don't have. They can't give anything because coming to realization, everything is happening right now. It's happening because there's no fucking jobs. The average American person don't know when they're gonna get their next paycheck or if they're gonna get fired. So they gotta cut back in the things that they been spending on. But the whole time we've been oppressed. We've been told what we want. This is why you have a PR. You have commercials. All right. There's an algorithm that goes on if you watch something if you go into the internet and you speak and all of a sudden the one thing that you've been thinking about or whatever, you're like, oh shit. And it makes you want to buy it because they're selling you shit. But all you're doing is in helping them getting richer. All right. So the time of aid the very rich is coming to an end. Oh, what was I? back to Zephaniah 1 and 11. It says, how ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for the merchant people are cut down, and all that bear silver are cut off. So basically, there's going to be a crash, a great crash, the greatest depression of all times. And right now, the majority of people are, we are in a depression. We've been in a depression for a long time. But they keep playing the words recession and depression. All right. What was a clear cut indicator recently that showed that we was in some sort of a depression? Was the food line. It wasn't about just the government shutdown. It was beyond that. Because prior to that food line, prior to the government shutdown, people was already on the food line. All right. So this is a clear cut sign that this market, this thing is about to go down. Real quick, I have to read it all the way. Isaiah 19, I start at 5 or 4. It says, and the Egyptians will I give into the hand of a cruel Lord, which is obviously now is we know is Esau Edom in general, but really the embodiment of it is Nero. All right. Mr. 45/47 himself. It says, shall rule over them, saith the Lord of hosts, and the waters shall fail from the sea, and the river shall be wasted and dried up. Meaning the prosperity is going to dry up. And they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of the fence shall be emptied and dried up, and the reeds and the flags shall wither. Why? Because there's no water, there's no substance. Okay, that's going in to feed this this machine. Real quick, boom, boom. Second Ezra 6 and about 24, I believe. No, it's not 24 actually. It is 22. And suddenly the sown place appeared unsown. Sown meaning what? Full. Suddenly the full place is going to seem, she's going to say and the full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty. Meaning there is going to be a manufactured famine. Okay? So suddenly all the things that that's been making this place prosper is coming is drying up. All right, that's what the scripture is saying, is drying up. Going back to this real quick, it's gonna say more, and it says, and the paper reeds by the brooks, in the mouth of the brooks, and everything sown by the brooks shall wither by the be driven away and be no more. So I did this long ago. When you look up the paper reeds, this is what the average the Egyptians are using for their everyday life. All right, they use it to build boats. They use it to just to tie certain things in. All right, this is a substance that they was always using. So what happens when there's no water going in, and this is a part of the brooks that's in what? The waters, that it dries up. That means that they cannot no longer financially function. And it says the fishers also shall mourn and cast and all they that cast angle into the brooks shall lament, and they shall spread nets upon the waters shall languish, because there's nothing coming in. All right, they're no longer gonna make or be able to do anything as they once did. Okay, because the substance is no longer available. It says, moreover, they that work in the flying flock, and they that weave networks shall be confounded. So the weaving the network is like I said, it's like tying things up. All right. So they use the paper reed, that substance, to use it like I'm gonna say like a rope. I've seen it before. Damn. Yeah, it's not like a rope, but it's something that that binds stuff up together, so they won't be able to use it to network to make nets, even to make a fishing net. They don't use fishing rods; they use fishing nets, and so they no longer could use it because the substance that they used was dried up. And it says, "And they shall be broken, and the purposes thereof, all that make the censers and the ponds for the fish. Surely the princes of Zoar and the fools are sorry, surely the princes of Zoar are fools." Zohar, if you look into it, that was a part of Egypt at the time. And the counsel of the wise, the counselors of Pharaoh, has become brutish. And this is exactly what's happening with this administration. They're becoming brutish, stupid. All right? How stupid? They causing their own demise because they want to crash this entire system that they benefited from, and by taking away from the people, the very same people that they constantly get rich from, they causing their own demise, a self-destructive plan on self-deflected demolition of the economy. All right, and it says, how say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise and the son of the ancient kings. And this is how this man boasts himself. All right. If you notice with Trump, out of all presidents, he's the most arrogant pieces of shit. And what is his main thing? He's bringing America back great again, right? And it's the most prosperous time, but it's the people's pocketbooks are hurt. They're hurting because and they're not seeing it. They're not seeing the promises that's been promised. From the government shutdowns to now, the potential martial laws into your local cities. This is not a sign of prosperity. Okay? And it says, where are they? Where are the wise men? Let them tell thee now. Let them know what the Lord of hosts have purposed upon Egypt. The princes of Zoar are become fools, and the princes of Nophe are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they, uh, even they that are stay of the tribes thereof, and they are seducing. Peep game. They are seducing their own people, the Edomites. All right, they're telling them, yeah, we're gonna make this. We're gonna make things right, but all they're doing is taking them away more rights. Now they want to introduce AI. AI. As soon as they introduce AI, the workforce is crumbling. This is live and direct, exactly what's happening. And it says that, and the Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. Perverse meaning against everything that it is. So, matter of fact, I'm just distorting, perverting, warping. So everything that was prior to, it was before, if I'm not mistaken, decaying, distorting. Right? When you go into the word distorting, let's go definition, to distort something, right? To distort, pull, or twist out of shape, miss or give a misleading or false account or impressive. Yes, the way this economy was established, the way things had operated was a false indication. And by that, they're using, and I'm just using that point of view. But this whole entire um, America has been distorted. All right. This is why they had to kept bringing back, 1776, 17. You got to go back, bring America, make America great again. So this whole thing, this perverse spirit, This is why men became women, women became men. That's all part of that perverse spirit. It says in the midst thereof, and it caused Egypt to err. So everything that is has done, unbeknownst to those that are supposed to be the wise men, that's supposed to aid their society, everything that they did was an error. Everything that they established is going to come back to them. This is why you have a national debt. And to this day, majority of people don't know why they in so much of a debt for. Why you go to college and you owe thousands of dollars for a degree that's you might not even get the job in. All right. Before, colleges was only isolated to a few people, but now it's open for everybody. So every little step from feminism, which destroyed the family, the Rockefellers wanted to tax both of the households, which later then destroyed whom? The children, leaving the children without a parent in the household. So it was okay when it was affecting Negroes, Latinos, and so forth. When it trickled down to them, it affected them too. This is why they have a cry of what? Oh, we gotta um stop abortions. We gotta all this because everything that they did was fucking for an error. All right. This isn't every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So they're not doing this in a clear cut mind. They're just doing it repulsively. All right. What makes them feel good. Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. And the scarcity is jobs. And so ever since the introduction of AI, the job market has completely changed. Unemployment is high, but they're not saying it. Why are they not saying it for? Because they don't want the narrative. They don't want the narrative to make them look bad. This is what proves that they're fools. These are the princes of Zohar. They're fools. Everything that they do. It says, "In that day shall Egypt be like unto a woman." In the state of a woman, she's confused, she's scared, and you can see everybody's crying on a TikTok or the video. Women are crying about, "Oh, I just got laid off today," and men are crying like, "I don't know what to do." They panicking because they have a spirit of a woman on them. All right, and they shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord, which was what ultimately started by the prophets, us going out there in the highways and byways. But that comes later because now they just stuck on their I don't know how to get out of my situation. But this is all part of the counsel of the Lord against Babylon. All right. It says, because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it, saying that what? America will be destroyed. And I'm going to end it off on this. Jeremiah 50 and about 24. Because it says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and has caught, and also caught because thou hast strived with the Lord. So everything that the Lord had done was a trap for this man. He thinks he's going to control the narrative, but what he's doing, what he fails to realize, the Lord is playing him. And just because people are losing and they have the notion in their mind that everybody's going to get this universal basic income, that's also the Lord trapping them. This is why the scripture says the keepers of the house shall be afraid. Oh, sorry, the keepers of the house shall tremble, which are the economists, the people that runs this stuff. Because that delusion that they've been holding for so long about the market, the people are going to take matters into their own hands. And it's going to get to a point of out of control. A lot of these small people that's in power, they're going to lose their lives because of the simple fact The people are going to take matters into their own hand. Matter of fact, me ending off on this, since I'm in the subject. Amos 9, 11? No, 12. No, 13. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper. Who's the plowman? The employer. So all your planning, despite how diabolical they may seem, that they think they have everything under control, eventually the poor are going to get their hands on you. So with that being said, shalom to the elect of the nations. Shalom.